Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman from Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS, and AthleticSOS is a software technology platform that if you're trying to get an athletic scholarship, but we take your academic information, your SAT, ACT test scores, the sports you play, the level you believe you can play at, and the area of the country you're interested in the U.S., and we will show you all the schools you academically qualify to attend that have your sport and offer athletic scholarship opportunities, except for NCAA Division III, which does not offer athletic scholarships, but we're showing the schools where you academically are highly ranked, and so you should be able to get enough money to go to school anyway and play the sports you love. So I get an opportunity a couple of times during the year to listen in on the NCAA's, they do webinars for the athletic directors of high schools. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys how I get to do this, but I've been included in this for probably the last couple of years. And so I want to kind of give you guys an overview of where they are right now and what may be coming in the future, or what I believe is going to be happening next. And some of it is speculation, but leave me with that. You know, I do that sometimes on some of these videos. You guys have heard me do that before. But before I get started, let's talk a little bit about what the NCAA is. It's the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and basically them and the NAIA are governing bodies that their main purpose is to make sure of two things. One is that if you're going to be playing at a college, you're going to play in athletics at a college, that you're an amateur. That is the first thing that is really, really important for them. And then their second thing is to make sure everybody's playing by the same set of rules at the collegiate level, that they're following the same rules for recruiting, for a lot of those things on the back end, to make sure nobody's taking advantage. And they kind of both came about for the same reason, but with two different sports. The NAIA basically came out of the basketball world. James Naismith, if I'm not, you guys can go look at the history of this stuff, just in case I'm getting some of it wrong. But basically, I think when he created basketball, they wanted to create this governing body to kind of overlook the basketball world. And then the NCAA came a little bit differently. It came around the sport of football. The reason is because there was some colleges were starting to have ringers, right? So you have these colleges, especially back on the East Coast, they're very competitive. They're all trying to get these, they're trying to just one up each other from the athletic point of view, not just the academic point of view. And so they would bring in ringers. They would have some people come in and sign up and be a part of the school just for that sports season, and then all of a sudden they would drop out. And then the second thing was a lot of kids were starting to get injured, and some of the schools were thinking about dropping football overall because it just was a dangerous sport. And so they needed somebody to come in. And what they wanted was an external governing body away from the schools, because the thought process was that the schools were going to try to rig things a little bit in their favor to get what they still wanted. So these were separate. They're not part of the administration of the colleges, but the colleges all agreed to abide by the rules that come out of these governing bodies. And so as the years went by, the NCAA kind of took over the basketball world. And so the NCAA basically has three different levels: NCAA Division I, II, and III. One being the highest level of athletes, and they're the ones you probably hear about every day on, you know, on the sports channel, ESPN, things like that. And then you have Division II, which is just a level below that. NCAA Division III, which they probably have the most sports opportunities for you, but they do not give athletic scholarships. What they do is they give you money in lieu of that, but a lot of times it will be more money than you could get getting an athletic scholarship, because athletic scholarships have a certain amount of rules. Basically, they can give you, you know, room, board, whatever it takes to attend the school, and no more than that. And so the other one is the NAIA, and they're usually smaller schools, but very robust, very good academic schools. Some of them really difficult to get into, really high level. And I always tell the kids to make sure you get into both of the eligibility centers for them, right? So you have the NCAA eligibility centers, and then you have the NAIA eligibility centers. A lot of parents don't even know either of them exist, and the ones that do will put their kids in the NCAA, but they forget about the NAIA. And all the eligibility centers they used to be called clearinghouses. And all they do is you put your information in, and then your school puts your grades in there for you. And then so the college coaches can come in there and see that you qualify. The NCAA is saying, or the NAIA are saying, hey, this kid is qualified to play. You cannot play at a college if you have not gone through the eligibility center. So you need to get into them anyway. So make sure you do that. And you can start it out on your own. Now they do charge and you guys can go and look because the costs change, but I think they're all both about $100. And then if you're in a certain economic situation, you can have it waived. There's some markers for that, and you guys can go check all of that stuff out. So just go to ncaa.com or naia.com and then look at all of the stuff that's going on there, or get your counselor at your high school or your athletic director if you have one, and they can help you get started on it. But get in the eligibility centers, especially if you play varsity sports at your high school. You got to get in the eligibility centers. It makes no sense not to. Now, so let's talk about what they were discussing on this call, because this was very interesting to me. So basically, since 2020, since the pandemic hit, the rules are completely changed, right? So you didn't have to take the SAT and the ACT to qualify to play at the collegiate level. Now, if you guys have been listening to me at all, I told you guys to kind of disregard that. Take the SAT and ACT anyway, because here's the thing everybody forgets. Just because the NCAA has made a rule that, oh, you're going to go ahead and be eligible because we understand all this stuff just happened, it doesn't mean the college did the same thing. So the college may still require that. So the kids that try to skirt around, and that's what we don't do in AthleticSOS, they try to get around, they find a loophole, some way to not have to do the extra work. Those people have limited the number of schools they can attend, that they qualify for, just because they wanted to skip over that ACT, SAT idea. So go ahead and take that. So all of the rules that they put in place, like I said, the SAT, ACT, homeschooling. Homeschooling was really, not homeschooling, but online classes. It was really, really strict before 2020. And then they kind of loosened it up because every school district, everybody was kind of scrambling, trying to figure out the best way to handle kids not being able to come on campus. What do we do? So they had online courses or online classes. And so the NCAA, instead of trying to figure out who's doing it the right way or making rules for it, they just sort of let that go. So all of that stuff is still in place. So coming in, if you're a senior right now in 2022, going into 2023, you're going to graduate in 2023 and start playing sports in the 2023-2024 year, you're still following the rules from 2020, 2021, and now 2022, obviously. So you guys are still good. Now, if you are a freshman, sophomore, or junior in high school, just do things the way they did it pre-2020, because they're going to go back to the old rules. And in fact, just listening in on that call, this is some of the things that I picked up listening in on the call, they didn't give any information about what's going to happen 2023, 2024 if you're a high school athlete. What rules are going to change. Now, I don't think they're going to go overboard right away, but I got the feeling listening in on the call that there's going to be some major changes on what they're going to try to ask for. And it may not affect those of you that are in high school right now, but the kids that maybe are in junior high and are coming forward, I think those rules are going to start changing and become even a little bit more stringent. And then the other thing I want to talk about is after they did the webinar, they allowed questions. And so this is some of the stuff that I've been trying to tell you guys forever. So one of the questions came from an athletic director who said, hey, listen, I've got a kid who had all of these offers and opportunities. They all got pulled from them. And so they're panicking right now. What can I do for them? You know, how do I help them? And the interesting thing is the person on the that was doing the webinar, and there were 3 people doing the webinar. The people that were doing the webinar basically told them, hey, you know, that's really terrible for them and we feel for them. All you can do is be there for them and let them know to go ahead and try to reach out and see if they can find some other opportunities. But it's not your responsibility and it's not our responsibility. There's nothing we really have in place to help that kid out. And this is what I've been telling you guys forever, and that's why I created AthleticSOS. You have to have some backup schools. Just because you're getting letters, just because it seems like you got everything set up and ready to go, the rug could be pulled out from up under you. And the funny thing is they didn't really pull the rug out. They never made any promises to you in the first place. You just infer that there's promises being made, but there's none. And so I think that is one of those things that is really, really important for you guys to understand. You are basically on your own in this endeavor. And so if you use our software, you're going to know all the schools you qualify for. So yes, there are schools that are reaching out to you that it looks like everything's going well. If those pan out, you're good to go. But if they don't, you want to have some schools in your back pocket that you can say, oh, okay, well, that didn't happen for me. Let me be able to move. One of the things we emphasize for you guys is you never want to be stuck. You never want to be dependent on somebody else coming through on your behalf. You want to make sure that you've got yourself covered in case something goes wrong. And then the second call was, the second question on there was actually pretty interesting too, because it was a kid that wasn't able to get all of the courses that they needed to play. They were getting Division I offers for NCAA, but or interest, not offers, because you can't get the offer unless you qualify. But they were getting interest from them. Is there a way for them to play catch up? And so they kind of went through what you could do to play catch up because of the rules for the pandemic, but they emphasize, and I'm emphasizing this to you guys, don't expect this to be available for you if you are a freshman, sophomore, and junior. So those are really important things. You're going to have to know the rules, and you're going to have to get on them early, because when they went through what the original rules were when they were starting the webinar off, the Division I, if you want to play NCAA Division I, those are the strictest rules. So I tell you guys this all the time. When you go back to school after the holidays or whatever time of the year you're watching this, you go to your counselor and you say, I want to play NCAA Division I sports. I need to take whatever courses are included in that. I want to make sure I do that, because if you do that, that means that you qualify for NCAA Division II, III, and NAIA. You will qualify if you can qualify for NCAA Division I. So make sure you take care of that. Now, this is all speculation from this moment moving forward. I believe that the NCAA is going to make some rules. They really got themselves in a little bit of a hot water. They lost a whole bunch of legal cases during 2022. They really got killed. 2021, 2022 was terrible for the NCAA. The NIL, they lost on that one. And so the name, image, and likeness situation is bursting out of control. And everyone's concentrating on that. But I think their biggest loss was that they had to create this transfer portal to allow kids to be able to transfer schools. And this thing's coming back to bite them. You guys, mark my words, this is going to be a catastrophe for college sports for the next year or so. It's just my opinion. Because what's going to happen is coaches are going to change jobs. So let's say you came to a school as a freshman and you did pretty good there. And then your coach gets an opportunity to go to another school. And so you go and you put yourself in the transfer portal because your coach is winking a nod. It's basically saying, hey, you might want to come over here with me because we're going to go do big things over here. And I'd love for you guys to be there. But, they're not going to tell you to come over, but you're going to get the hint. And so you put yourself in the transfer portal, and then you get picked up at that new school that your coach went to. And now there were kids over at that school that now are in a little bit of trouble. Their coach that brought them in is gone now and went somewhere else. They maybe did not want to go with them. Maybe that coach just got fired and didn't get picked up anywhere else. And so now you're coming in and you're taking one of their spots. So they put themselves in the transfer portal, and then they want to go somewhere else. And maybe they're a D1 kid and they go, you know what, we're not finding anything in a high D1, but here in this mid-major area, I can go over here and land here and I can make my name over here. So I'm going to go and transfer there. Then that moves that kid out of the way. And so it becomes this Game of Thrones type of situation, and it's not good for college. So I think they're going to have to do something with this transfer portal, or it's going to be just a mess moving forward. And then the second thing I think is going to happen is there are only two sports, I think, in collegiate sports that really make money. It's football and men's basketball. Women's basketball is okay. I don't think it drains a lot, but all the other sports cost the schools money. Now, they still want the sports on campus because it makes for a lively campus. Kids want to go to schools that have a lively atmosphere and environment. And so you want to make sure that you have sports on campus. But I think they're going to try to separate football and men's basketball away from the other sports. They're going to take the money from those sports and give it to the other sports, but they're going to let the other sports kind of work it out, how they're going to spend that money. But the football and men's basketball are just the money makers, and you always follow the money because that's where everything comes in. So you'll probably see them expand out the tournaments that they have, for football or for basketball, especially for men's basketball. They're going to expand that out and include more teams to get more revenue generated in there. That's where the money making is. So those are two things that I'm speculating on that are probably going to happen moving forward. But overall, I just want to make sure you guys are up to date on what's going on. And then moving forward, I will keep my ear to the ground and try to figure out what's going to be happening in 2023, 2024. Okay, guys, as always, take the software, look down below. I always give you the code and I give you instructions for how to use it. The software is actually absolutely no cost to you guys to use. Please use it. It makes all the difference in the world at that last minute when things aren't going well, or even if things are going well. We want you guys to start picking the school you want to go to. Put yourself in an environment you want to, and I want you to get used to that. That's what we're generating here at AthleticSOS. We're going to create a bunch of kids that have learned how to go out and position themselves for what they want to do next, that they're thinking forward, they're thinking past what their peers are thinking. And so that's what the software is all about. All right, guys, best of luck to you always in all your endeavors. And if you want to stay in the game, we'd like to help you stay there. All right, talk to you later. Bye.